You live?
Live and alive.
Live and alive. We live and alive. Olia, come in. Olia, come in. Big Ray J. How you doing, Big Ray? Aretha Davidson. How you doing, my dear? How's everybody doing? Happy Sunday to all. Happy Sunday to all. A great Sunday. First of all, it's the first Sunday of August, so that makes it a great Sunday in and of itself. July was the first start of the second quarter. Sorry, third quarter, which is crazy to know that we're in the third quarter of the year already. And now we're in the second month of the third quarter already. So it's good to see all you. Um, Ilias, go check Gina's letter. Gina dropped a letter to the judge. To the judge, Ilias, was it to the judge? I gotta check that out. Happy Sunday from Baby K63. Happy Sunday to you. Galveston, Texas. Yes, happy Sunday to you out in Texas. Veronica Woods, hello from Eagle Lake, Texas. Again in Texas. What time is it in Texas? You guys are an hour behind us, right? Texas? So it should be around 20 after 4 there, right? But yeah, y'all let me know where you're in from. We got, let me see here. Phoenix. Shout out to Phoenix. We got JA. Ilya says Gina is standing with she's standing with Puff. The letter is to the judge saying give him bail. Give him bail. And we're gonna get into that today because of something very interesting. I know we tried to make a little bit of a salacious title to this video. We really did. Um, y'all tell me if it worked. I mean, if we get some clicks and views, shout out Jacksonville, Florida. I dated a girl from Jacksonville, Florida. You guys are cool out there. Um, Shout out to Jacksonville, Florida. Good evening. Good evening to you. Tanya V, another day one, Bay Area. Shout out to the Bay Area in California. Shout out to y'all. Veronica Woods says, Free Puff. Mark Jag, Gina is a stand-up woman. Listen, Gina was in her feelings when she did that. I watched her Tasha K interview. She was in her feelings at that time, and that's normal. That's normal when you go through a breakup and you feel like you were mistreated in the relationship. That's normal. But at the end of the day, she's still a stand-up woman, and you got to respect women like that. Women who stand on business and say, no matter what, I understand that there were faults on both sides. And you know what? I'll take responsibility for me, and they have to take responsibility for themselves. Gina was a stand-up woman. She's not like some of the other women that we've been speaking of who blame everything on the other person, who blame everything on the other person. Um, Ray Johnson, you're from Texas, Houston. Shout out to Houston. Oh yes, yes, we did speak about Houston, Ray. Shout out Big Ray, 420. Um, not the day 420, but it's 420 in Texas. Shout out to y'all. So yo, see, let's jump into this stuff because guys, I came on here today because of a specific portion of the last motion that was filed by Mark Agnifilo. Mark Agnifilo filed a motion, and the motion was for Puff's immediate release. And I just came on here to talk about that a little bit because there's something that he said that was very interesting, and I thought I'd explore it with the audience. I would love for you guys to kind of guide me as well, and we're going to explore this together. I don't have much research on it aside from the research you guys are about to see, but I'd also like for you guys to give me your thoughts, your opinions here in the chat. All right, narratives and dialogue. Shout out to you. Shout out to you, narratives and dialogues. Um, all right, so let's get into it. See, you're on, right?
Yep, I'm on.
All right, cool. Let's get into the portion of the motion in which we're talking about the First Amendment right. Just to give you guys an understanding, basically what the claim is that the adult film industry is protected by the First Amendment right. And if this guy Puff was filming his threesomes, that's his thing. That's what he wants to do, whatever that is. If he's doing that, he's basically an amateur adult filmmaker. And their adult films remember, the First Amendment right is freedom of speech and expression. So those adult films that he was filming with him, the girl, and the escort, they're saying that those were amateur adult films. And if he was creating amateur adult films, that is his freedom of expression. That's what they're saying. So it's a very interesting angle, and I want to explore this. It's a very interesting angle, and I want to explore it. All right. Remember, he was found not guilty for all of the main charges, but he was found guilty for this particular charge, which is the Mann Act, which is basically he brought his girl or one of his girls across state lines, and they ended up participating in a commercial S act, which he hired an escort, and they ended up getting down with the getting down. All right. So let's get into this portion here. See, you want to read the highlighted portions, please?
Sure. It says, if the statute is interpreted to cover Mr. Combs' conduct, his conviction must be reversed because it violates the First Amendment. The freak-offs and hotel nights were performances that he or his girlfriends typically videotaped so they could watch them later. In other words, he was producing amateur pornography for later private viewing. This is protected First Amendment conduct that no substantial government interest justifies prohibiting, since the film depicts adults voluntarily engaging in consensual activity.
Correct. More than correct. More than correct. Yo, just scroll up to the top. We can all read this a little bit. There's another section too, right? Or is this the only section that it mentions it?
There are a few parts that I had highlighted.
Okay, so let's go through all the
I
parts
might have
first.
missed some, but yeah.
But these are the ones that we're going to focus on. All right, let's go to the next part of this motion.
Yeah, so in this part where it says there was insufficient evidence that Mr. Combs transported anyone with the intent to engage in prostitution, they had said that the evidence showed Mr. Combs experienced these performances not as a typical John, but rather as a voyeur who filmed the performances. To avoid these constitutional concerns, the statute should be narrowly construed to apply only the defendants who have a commercial motive, or at the very least, only to the Johns who pay a prostitute to have S with the John.
And then there's a third one, right?
Hold on. Oh, here we go. Upholding the convictions would violate the First Amendment. The evidence at the trial showed that during the freak-offs and hotel nights, Mr. Combs directed and recorded live S performances that he later watched with his girlfriends. The trial record thus demonstrates that Mr. Combs and his girlfriends arranged these get-together not just for the voyeuristic purpose of S arousal or gratification, but also to capture S performances on video in a manner similar to an adult film producer. The Mann Act cannot be enforced in these circumstances without violating Mr. Combs' First Amendment rights.
Exactly. Exactly. And then we have this last one.
Yeah. So this part, it says paying people to film them in S performances is protected by the First Amendment. In the leading decision, and it was this was them bringing up the case where it says in the leading decision of People versus Freeman, the defendant was convicted of procuring individuals for prostitution because he paid them to perform S acts to be portrayed in an adult film. On appeal, the California Supreme Court reversed the defendant's convictions and held that even assuming his conduct met the state's statutory definition of prostitution, its application would have violated the First Amendment.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
So, guys, we're seeing something very interesting here. And this is something that I didn't know. And so as I'm learning, you guys are learning, right? Ray Johnson says, no matter how much the government see non-faults in Diddy's case, they doesn't want to accept it. They don't. The fact that they lost the RICO case and they couldn't get Diddy's assets. Well, they wanted the assets. To me, I assume they wanted the assets. I assume they wanted the assets specifically because they wanted to get the money back from what they were spending. I think that they were able to get the okay from the higher ups. Well, I shouldn't say they. I want to put it all on Damian Williams. I think Damian Williams got the okay from the higher ups because of the simple fact that Damian Williams said, we're going to go for the RICO and we're going to get the money back and all the resources that we spent. That's just my theory. That's just my theory. I don't know if it's true. I don't have any inside information. That's just my theory. They wanted the RICO. That's what they really, really wanted. And they didn't get it. And they didn't get it. And they didn't get it. Yes, they lost a lot of the taxpayers' money. That's what Ray Johnson says. Absolutely correct. They lost a lot of the taxpayers' money. So let's get back into this. Let's get back in. Sorry, guys, if I'm distracted, it's just because my cousin is smoking some jerk chicken right now, and I can smell it, and it smells amazing. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry. I don't want. It's Sunday. It's Sunday dinner. I'm sorry, y'all.
Yeah, thank
All
you, Baby K. Guys, if you're just filing in, remember to hit that like button, please.
Yes, guys, if you're just following, please like, subscribe, and especially, please, guys, can you please send this video to somebody? Send this video to somebody who needs to understand how to move, because we're treading some weird territory right now, and we're gonna get into it today. That's what we're here for. We're all exploring it together. I'm learning with the rest of you guys. I'm learning with everybody here. All right. So let's get into the first point that the government made. Let's get into the first point.
The
Just
first
put
one.
that back on. Yeah, put that back on the screen for everybody. The first highlight.
Oh, that's what you meant.
Yeah.
Just a second.
And I said the government. I meant
Yeah, that's what I was
Puffstein.
confused.
Yeah, I messed you up there. My bad. All right, let's get into the first
Okay,
one.
right here.
Can you put it big on the screen? I can't see.
Sure.
Yeah, I have a small screen here. All right, perfect. So, okay, if the statute is interpreted to cover Puff's conduct, his conviction must be reversed because it violates the First Amendment. Before we get into this, let's go through the First Amendment. Can you throw that on the screen, please? First Amendment. Just so you guys understand where we're coming from. Not everybody here either lives or is from America. So let's just start with the First Amendment, so we understand what the First Amendment is. Okay, what is that First Amendment?
Yeah, give me just a second.
Yeah, you got it. We'll pull it up. In the meantime, let me shout out some people in the chat. In the chat, Andre Shannon. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, it is too expensive. Absolutely. Taxpayers' money is used. Is used. Denial of Sean Combs behind bars. Ray Johnson. Get the likes up. Get the lights up. Yes, 100%. Narratives
Yeah, we
and
have the First Amendment.
dialogues.
We have it up now, Jay.
Okay, we got it. Yes. And I just read part of your message, narratives and dialogues. Yes, 100%. If you could hit us, we have our email address in the description, I think, of our channel. So if you could hit us, we'd love to collaborate. Okay. First Amendment. Can you read that for us?
Sure.
Just in case you guys don't know, your First Amendment right. It's not just being able to say whatever you want. It's not just I can say whatever I want. It's deeper than that. So let's go through the First Amendment right. And remember, if you're on here and you're not actually an American citizen, this right doesn't apply to you. So just don't say whatever you want and say it's covered by my First Amendment right. If you are not a citizen, these are rights for citizens. Just a heads up.
Yeah. So the First Amendment guarantees freedoms concerning religion, expression, assembly, and the right to petition. It forbids Congress from both promoting one religion over others and also restricting an individual's religious practices. It guarantees freedom of expression by prohibiting Congress from restricting the press or the rights of individuals to speak freely. It also guarantees the right of citizens to assemble peacefully and to petition their government.
Correct. Absolutely correct. So the whole idea here is that your First Amendment right is it allows you to be you. Now, the interesting thing about the freedom of expression, see where it says there, right there, it's highlighted in the blue, about midway through the yellow highlighted area. Then there's blue and there's an underline. It said it guarantees freedom of expression. It guarantees freedom of expression. This is from Cornell Law School. Okay. It's explaining this First Amendment right. And we're going to go through some case law. Now, if Puff is videotaping these threesomes, all people who he's videotaping are consenting to it. This is not a secret videotape. These are all people that are consenting to being on camera. Okay. All people are consenting to being on camera. The corn industry is protected by the First Amendment right because it is your artistic expression. So when, what's his name? Williams? What's his name again? See? He's from your country. You should remember his name.
Damon Williams.
Damian Williams. Thank you. Appreciate it. Shout out to Jamaica. But when Damian Williams is sitting there and saying he directed the freak-offs, you actually put your foot in your own mouth. Because if he directed the acts between one of his girlfriends at the time and the escort, then that in itself is amateur porn. That's amateur adult film. And they would say they would watch them later. That's what the witnesses said, that they would watch them later. Jane Doe even bought him a moving TV, like a TV on wheels, so he can bring it around the house for his birthday. She bought him a TV on wheels so they could bring it around the house and they can watch this stuff wherever they go in the house because he had a really big house. So let's think about this for a second. If that is freedom of expression, then the actual, and although it's just a light charge, slap on the wrist charge, it's still a charge. It's still a federal crime. So, but that doesn't make any sense. He was accused and convicted of the Mann Act. The Mann Act is basically moving somebody, which was one of his girlfriends, that's the conviction, moving one of his girlfriends from one place to another place, okay, from one place to another place, to have S with an escort. I'm not going to call them an S worker because they weren't S workers. They chose to have S afterward. However, if that's the case, we got a problem here because that is artistic expression, this freedom of expression, because he's videotaping them. Okay, so it's very interesting. This is a very interesting angle that the defense is taking. Now, I don't all the way buy it yet, but maybe by the end of this live, I might buy it. Maybe by the end of this live, I might buy it. These are not hidden cameras. These are cameras in full view. Full view. Okay. So now that we've established the First Amendment right, let's go into the motion. Let's go into the motion, and we're gonna see in the particular motion what's going on here.
Okay, let me just get back into that. Yeah, here we go.
All right. And guys, this is important. Before we get into this a little bit more, what is important is to understand that people have different lifestyles than us. All right. This is not my thing. I'm not about the life, but there's a lot of people who are. And it shouldn't be a federal crime to be about that life. And if you feel like that's wrong or immoral, I assume that you probably believe in God. So you should just allow God to sort them out. Shout out to the Clips, right? Allow God to sort them out. It's not our job to jump in and say, this is wrong or that's wrong or this is wrong or that's wrong. Okay. We observe, we live our lives the way we think is right and see fit for our lives. We do not go into somebody else's life and say, well, you are a sinner, or you're this or you're that, or you're a freak, or you're this or you're that. That judgment is weird. First of all, if I'm gonna judge somebody, I would judge them on what they're doing in the world and in the community, as opposed to behind closed doors in their bedroom. That shouldn't, that's like the last thing that you would judge somebody on. Or the second last thing. Well, the second last thing would be judging somebody on their thoughts, the thoughts that come into their mind. But if you're going to judge somebody on behavior, it should be the behavior that affects the greater community. In my opinion, remember, this is a leadership channel. If you're going to be a leader, you do not judge people for things that you are not a part of. I think that's crazy. Why would you judge somebody for something you're not even a part of? That's crazy. All right. So let's jump into this. If the statute is interpreted to cover Mr. Combs' conduct, his conviction must be reversed because it violates the First Amendment. The quote unquote freak offs or hotel nights, these are performances that no, you don't have to, don't worry. I've read this a few times. Those are performances that he or his girlfriends typically videotaped so they could watch them later. In other words, he was producing amateur pornography for later private viewing, which is protected by your First Amendment right. If you don't believe me, we're going to get into that in a second, which is protected by your First Amendment right. This is well, that's the next thing. This is protected. This is protected First Amendment conduct that no substantial government interest justifies prohibiting, since the films depicted adults voluntarily, consensually engaging in consensual activities. So let's jump into that little research that we did. Not ton of research. So guys, don't hold me on this. But I did some research because I didn't want to come here oblivious. Okay. So we did some research. Can you throw that research up as to how the adult porn or adult film industry is protected? Not the Mann Act one yet, just how they're protected. Can you throw it up on the screen for the people, please? If you're speaking, we can't hear you.
Yeah, sure. Give me just a
I got
second.
you. Okay, perfect. Thank you.
And okay,
All right.
there we go.
Thank you. All right. So, do you want to read this out loud to the people? I know it's 5 pages, a little bit long, but let's just read it one time over, and then I'm going to go through the highlights. Okay. Let's just read it one time over.
Yeah, sure. So it says the First Amendment plays a central role in protecting the adult film industry in the United States, particularly under the freedom of speech and expression. Here's how. Pornography as protected expression. Sexually explicit content involving consenting adults is generally considered protected speech under the First Amendment. The U.S. Supreme Court has repeatedly ruled that adult films, while sexually explicit, do not lose constitutional protection simply for being graphic or offensive to some. This legal precedent allows the adult industry to produce, distribute, and sell content without being criminalized as long as it doesn't cross into illegal territory. And then it cited two key legal cases that set precedents. One is Roth versus United States, 1957. The court ruled that obscenity is not protected speech, but also clarified that not all sexual content is obscene. And then with Miller versus California, 1973, it introduced the Miller test, which helps courts decide if someone is obscene and therefore not protected. Under the Miller test, consent must one, appeal to prurient, overly sexual interests, two, depict sexual conduct in a patently offensive way, and finally, the third one, lack serious literary, artistic, political, or scientific value. Most professionally made adult content doesn't meet all three criteria, so it's not legally obscene and remains protected. What's not protected? The First Amendment doesn't protect obscene material under the Miller test, child pornography, zero tolerance, always illegal, non consensual acts or coercion, revenge porn, now out in, but it says are now outlawed in most states, and snuff films or sexualized violence involving real harm. The adult
Yeah,
industry.
we can skip this part.
Mhm.
No, go down. Yeah, we can skip this part because we don't
Okay.
need to. This doesn't apply here anyways. The children.
Yeah. How the industry uses this protection. Thanks to the First Amendment protections, adult filmmakers can operate legally in most jurisdictions, challenge censorship, local ordinances, zoning laws, etc., distribute content online, in print, and through other media, fight back against obscenity charges using free speech defenses. Studios, performers, and platforms also rely on this protection to defend against overreaching regulations or moral policy. Um, it says right protected, how it applies to adult industry, freedom of speech, allows creation, distribution, performance, freedom of expression, recognizes adult content as a form of expression, legal limits apply, obscenity, manners, coercion are not protected.
Correct. All
Yeah.
right. So thank you for reading that, see, because I wasn't about to. So thank you very much. Listen, guys, what can you guys tell me? Maybe I'm incorrect in my understanding here. I'm open to that. Can you guys please tell me what did Puff do differently than this? Put a one if nothing, put a two if something, and then educate me. Put a one in the chat if nothing, put a two if it was something differently than this, and then educate me. Please. I'm looking at the chat right now. Shout out to Narratives and Dialogues. I appreciate that. Yes, let's get these likes up, folks. Let's get these likes up. And make sure you please share and subscribe. Cody's obsessed with subscribers, so please subscribe just for him. I talk about views all the time. Cody's like, oh, we have to get more subscribers. We got to get more. So shout out to Cody. So please. So Ray John says, never these people are in the bushes too. Yes. Okay. Two. One. Okay. I got y'all. All right. So to me, it seems like most people agree. But again, if I'm wrong, just let me know how I'm wrong. But this is basically the corn industry. Now, we did some more research. The research about the Mann Act as it pertains to the adult film industry. Can we bring that up on the screen, please? And again, for you guys know, for you guys that know me, you know this is not my lifestyle. So I'm not defending the lifestyle. I'm defending the accusations in the law. You guys know this is not my. If you guys are on here and you know me, you know I'm not really about that life. That I'd rather do it in real life than in through screens. But some people are about that life, and if you really and truly feel like you know God is the judge, then let God sort them out. Why are you in the business? Why are you out here? Why are you doing stuff? Why do you have an opinion about what other people do in their bedroom? If it's not for you, it's not for you. Keep it moving. Let God sort them out.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
I
Yeah.
can hear you loud and clear,
Yeah.
sir.
So I'll just read it. I'm not able, it's not coming up, but I'll just read it because it's not that long. It says, corn companies aren't charged under the Mann Act
Can you
because
big it up, please? I can't see.
no, I'm saying that I'm
Yeah,
not
I
able.
know you're gonna just read it because it's not that long, but I would like to follow along. Thank you, sir.
No, I'm not able to put it on the
Oh,
screen.
you can't put it on the screen.
Yes.
Understood. Gotcha.
Yeah, so I'm just reading it so you guys can hear.
You got it. No
Yeah.
problem.
Says corn companies aren't charged under the Mann Act because the sexual activity is legal, documented, and consensual, and the performers are paid for acting. Let me read that again. The performers are paid for acting. Let me start over. Porn companies aren't charged under the Mann Act because the sexual activity is legal, documented, and consensual, and the performers are paid for acting, not for sex in itself. But if coercion, fraud, or illegality enters the equation, they absolutely can and sometimes are charged.
Okay. So in this particular case, there was no coercion or anything like that. The jury found him innocent of that. Everybody was that was there was a consenting adult. So there was like you emphasize acting. Tell me why you emphasize that. Maybe we can have a conversation around that. Because
Yeah.
I don't know how you act like you're having S. It's either you're doing it or you're not doing it.
Well, that is what the corn industry is, right? It still involves a lot of acting. Even
I
so,
would more
you're
say
having
performers. They're not
it,
actors, they're performers.
yeah, performers, actors are performers too. You know, they perform when they're acting, when they're performing.
Okay, but acting means it's not really happening, it's just acting. But you're actually having S. So I don't know why you emphasize acting.
Because
It's either you're doing the act or you're not doing the act.
because it still involves elements of acting. So you're still having it's not necessary about the this sexual activity itself, but the acting that is involved in it. Oh, April Morgan says hi. Or I think she's raising her hand.
April Morgan, let me check the chat. Oh, there's a link there. There's a link there. I don't know who Ray J's talking about, but he says put in real work. Yes, I am. I hope you're talking about me. Yes, I am. But okay. All right. So let's get back into this. Acting aside,
Mm-hmm.
these people were transported to do the real thing, not to pretend that they're doing the real thing, but to actually do the real thing, correct?
Yes.
So an OnlyFans person or a actor in the adult film industry, as we want to call them, right? Excuse me. That person is flown out to Miami or San Diego or San Francisco or LA or one of those places out there. I know there's like a lot of those places out there that do it. Excuse me. So one of those people are flown out there to film a scene. That's what they call it, right? Film a scene.
Mm-hmm.
That person is flown out, and then that person is then paid after they do the act of S.
Mm-hmm.
They're you could call them acting or whatever, but they're still having S, right? In real life, right?
Yeah.
This is not like a movie where the sheets are over and they're faking it. Like this is real life. They're actually doing it, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So they're doing it. They're flown over there and then they're paid afterward. What is the difference between that and what Puff was doing?
There's no difference.
I disagree. There's a big difference. There is a huge difference. The difference is he takes the video and enjoys it in his own personal time behind
Oh,
doors,
I see
and
what
they take the video and sell it on the internet and make a profit out of it.
mm-hmm.
But then he is convicted for this charge, but they could go ahead and have $1 billion industry. This makes no sense to me.
Yeah. Tanya V said they're acting and performing in corn.
They're doing both. This makes no sense to me. You know, this makes no sense to me. Why is this different than what other people are already doing? $1 billion industry. Now, I already explained to you guys, this is amazing to me that they brought up this argument in the last motion that they filed. It's amazing to me that they brought up this argument because that's amazing lawyering. But let's get deeper into this. Can
So
you
it's
put up, go ahead.
mm-hmm. So I said the porn industry is legal because it falls under free expression, not illegal sexual activity. As long
Yes,
as
but this
content
wasn't
is
illegal activity either because he was found innocent of S trafficking. So
yeah.
this was not illegal activity either.
It says as long as consent, and which we all know
All the
was given.
people that were involved were consenting adults,
Mhm.
which was him, the woman, and the escort.
And
They
listen
were
to
all
this.
consenting
It says
adults.
as long as as long as consent is consensual, documented, and obscene, the First Amendment acts as a strong shield, unlike prostitution or human trafficking.
Oh, so maybe that's where he messed up. He didn't get them to have documented consent because in the corn industry, they have to sign a waiver. They have to sign saying
Yeah.
whatever, whatever. Ah, so maybe that's how they got it. Like we're figuring this stuff out together, guys. We're figuring it all out together. I don't know this stuff. I just know we have an intelligent chat. We have intelligent subscribers and followers, and see himself as an intelligent person. And I'm not so shabby myself. So I feel like, at the end of the day, we can all get to the bottom of this. We can all get to the bottom of this. How is it that his First Amendment right was not violated? Ray J says documentation. He needed the documentation to say that they wanted to be here. But it still doesn't connect. For me, it doesn't connect. Because Ray Johnson, for me, what I believe is that, like, let's think about this logically, right? You signing that you want to be here or you don't want to be here doesn't have anything to do with the Mann Act. The Mann Act is transporting for the purpose of commercial S. And commercial S is identified as having S in exchange for value. It doesn't even have to be money. It could just be any type of value. Matter of fact, you could put the person up in a hotel and that's value. You could send them out, take them out for dinner. That's value. You could buy her a Birkin bag. That's value. You could,
As simple as sending a car to pick them up is value.
as simple as sending a car to pick them up as value. Even if you sent her in your private jet, that's value too, right? So really the charges, it's really doesn't make any sense. Even if you signed a thing saying a document saying I want to be here, I consent to being here, you're still transporting them for the purpose of having S in exchange for value. Why? Because you're either paying, well, you couldn't say you're paying the escort. And that's another thing I need everybody to understand. It wasn't because he transported them for paying the escort. It was because he transported the girl and she had commercial S. It wasn't the escort, it was the girl, the girlfriend, I should say. Mark Jag says Jane had documented consent. She did, and she also did have verbal consent. That's true. They called it a love contract. That's what she described it in the court, and they played voice notes in the court of them talking about how it was a love contract. Oh yeah, Mark Jag. Yeah, yeah. I didn't get to your second comment, Mark Jag. Mark Jag said Jane had a love contract. Exactly. I didn't get to your second comment.
Is the
So
love contract even a legit thing though? What is that exactly?
it doesn't matter. A verbal agreement or a documented agreement or video agreement, they're all agreements. It doesn't really matter. All right, let's get into the next part of this. See, throw that up on the screen, please.
Yeah, just a second.
Yeah, this is the last part, right?
It was yeah. It was it's the history of the First Amendment actually.
Yes, it's the history of First Amendment. And then we can also get into, for those of you guys, I'm gonna play the Mann Act thing at the end. For those of you guys that didn't get to catch it, I'll play that at the end. But let's get into the history of the First Amendment. Why is this important? Because your First Amendment right with you videotaping this scene. Okay, let me give you guys, put me big on the screen, please. Big me up on the screen, please. Big me up on the screen. Thank you. Let's say you, your art form is a painter. You're a painter. You're a wonderful painter. Okay. And you have a bunch of naked people all around you, and you want to paint a bunch of naked people. Let's say you're a painter, you're a wonderful painter, and you want to paint a bunch of people in the act of having S. This is your expression, your artistic expression, right? The First Amendment Act covers expression. It's not just words, it's expression. I mean, this thing is annoying me. Give me 1 second, y'all. There we go. Perfect. The First Amendment Act covers expression. Expression. This is how I express myself to the world. To the world. And if Puff is there saying, more oil, more oil, more oil, shout out Armand. I want you guys to be glistening. You guys know. You guys know. This guy had a bathtub full of oil. No, it's not live. Okay. They literally took one of those inflatable swimming pools that little kids use in the backyard. They filled it with oil. Oil, 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 oil. Jump in there and slip and slide. That's what he liked. That was his artistic expression. He told the escort and his girl, jump in the bathtub of oil or the swimming pool of oil and just glisten each other. You know how I know? It was in the exact testimony in the case. It was in the testimony in the case. So much so that what's his name? His nickname was the Punisher, but I forgot what his actual name was. But so much so that that guy said that he didn't even have S with Cassie the first few times. All he did is rub her down with oil. Oil, oil, oil. Now I ask you, some people think it's sadistic or it's weird or whatever. But some people, let's just say Vincent Van Gogh, for example, who cut off his ear or a part of his ear and sent it to somebody, or people who are painters. You guys seen in the intro for this video, somebody painted a, a head that was severed, which was John the Baptist. His head was severed. It was served up on a plate. Some people have that kind of art mind. I don't know. It's weird to us. Maybe it's not weird to you. To me, it's kind of strange. To me, it's kind of strange. But I'm not out here judging people for what I think is weird. That's not my job. That's not my job. He's doing it in the privacy of his own home or a hotel. He's not doing it in the streets. He's not doing anything out to the world or anything like that. This is what the guy likes. More oil, more oil, more oil. He wants them to be glistening. Didn't you hear? They seized almost 1,000 bottles of baby oil. almost 1,000 bottles of baby oil. But this is what he likes. It's it. And so there are some points in time, 100%. Yes, 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 I understand. In which the people, they're engaging in S. And then he would take his one of his girlfriends. I always have to keep telling you guys, it's one of his girlfriends. At no point was he dating all of these women at the same time. Sorry, at all points, he was dating all these women at the same time. At no point was one of these women his only girl. So I know a lot of people are like, why would you want your girl to be railed by another guy? First of all, not my business, and I don't give a damn. Would I like that? No. But it's one of his girls. It's one of his girls that he likes to see get S. And if you are a watcher of corn, if you are on here, don't put in the chat. I don't care. I don't want to know. But if you are on here and you watch corn, or if you've ever watched it in your life, he's doing it better than you. That's the difference between watching the Lakers versus the Celtics on TV versus right here in front in real person. That's the difference. He's doing it better than you. He has a live show and he has his camera out and said, yo, more oil, more oil. Move your leg over here. Yo, y'all go over here. Move that little plant over there from here to here. He has a little camera out. I'm picturing a camcorder because Puff is old. I'm picturing a camcorder. He has his camcorder out. He has his iPhone maybe, right? If he could actually realize how to push record.
There's
And the
actually
reason
a part in the motion of acquittal that where they describe that. If you want me to read it.
you could read it in a second. But the reason why I was doing this is because it came out in the trial that he doesn't even know how to connect Bluetooth. It came on the trial. The assistant that was on the stand, they said, "What would you help him with?" And he said all kinds of stuff. And then the assistant said, "Well, sometimes I would have to help him connect the Bluetooth because he didn't know how to do it." Like Puff was one of those old school guys that didn't really know how to do a lot of stuff. So he knows how to point and shoot, and he's there making his video. Okay, that's great. Let him do his thing, whatever. It's not nothing to do with me. God is the judge at the end of the day. But what I'm saying is, at the end of the day, all he was doing is exactly what an artistic expression person would be doing. I'm taking film. I'm an amateur filmmaker. Basically, that's what he is. He's an amateur filmmaker. That's what they're arguing. Now, am I 100% in agreement with that? No, not really. Especially being at the trial, not really. But it's a damn good point. It's a damn good point. And if somebody was to convince me of it, it wouldn't be that hard. It wouldn't be that hard to convince me that this guy was just an amateur filmmaker and it wasn't all the things that you guys were told where there was kids and there was all these celebrities and all these freak offs. It was literally him, one of his girls, the one that he chose to be the freak off joint, him, one of his girlfriends, and an escort. That's it. That's it. It wasn't Justin Bieber and Usher and whoever else they talk about, and it wasn't any children, and it wasn't secret recordings. There was no drugs in the baby oil and all this stuff. That stuff did not happen. These are salacious things that people see on the internet and run with it because they hate people who are better than them. There are some people that just want. Look, if Puff was a Joe Blow, somebody just on the street, nobody would care. Everybody cares because he's more successful than you. That's what even gets your mind even thinking about it. Because everybody wants successful people to go down instead of just working hard and being successful yourself. God forbid. But you see right here, sorry, right here, you can see it. You are your only limit. That right there. You are your only limit. See up here, top corner, right? You are your only competition. Be better than you were yesterday. And you see right here, excuses are for the weak. You understand, guys? All I'm trying to explain on this channel is we don't have to hate people. We could just be great on our own. But people, it's like they get this kind of fulfillment from saying somebody's bad. It's almost like they get a fulfillment, like they get off by, oh wow, well yeah, he's great, but look how bad he is. It's weird to me because the reason why it's weird. I'll tell you the reason why it's weird. If somebody is bad, so bad that you want to call them out, do you know what they have? Do you know what has to exist? One word has to exist. That word is victims. Victims have to exist. So if you want a person to be guilty, then that means you also want victims. What you should want, what you should want is somebody not to be guilty. You should be saying, I pray this isn't true. I pray this isn't true. Because if this is true, there's a lot of people out there that are suffering. And there's a lot more people out there that are probably doing the same thing. A lot of people out there that are suffering. I hope to God this isn't true. That should be your attitude. Instead, your attitude is, oh yes, I hope this is true. That doesn't make any sense to me. I hope it's not true. I hope it's not true. Because I would hate to hear that there were more child victims than already we have on the earth. On earth, right now. And this is sad to say, but right now, there is a child getting victimized. There's a child victim right now that is being abused right now as we speak, that is being abused. I hope there's less than I could imagine. Not that there's more, not that there's more, but jealousy and resentment and um, all this type of self-hate makes people want there to be more, apparently. They want more victims. The man got found innocent, and people are still saying, well, he only got found innocent. Why would you want that? So I pray for all of you guys on the stream right now. Please make your attitude less victims and not more victims. If and our stream is smart, anyways. I know you guys already do that, anyways. But tell somebody else to do it. Tell somebody else to do it because they're crazy. To me, to me. Anyway, see, you wanted to read something. I went off on a tangent. Go ahead. Do you think, bro?
Yeah, sure. But Jay, we got another classic one though, another classic comment in
Oh, we
the
got a classic comment. I gotta go,
yeah.
Mr. Man. Well, why would you have to put man if you already put Mr.? I can look at you and tell you why you would come to his defense, though. Okay. I mean, Mr. Man, can you explain a little bit more? Please explain a little bit more, Mr. Man. Please let me know. Go deep, 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 Mr. Man. Pun intended, Mr. Man. I saw the little
Finish
yeah,
strong.
I saw yeah, finish strong, Mr. Man. Finish strong. I saw the little thing that you put up there, emoji that you put up there, Mr. Man. Finish strong, Mr. Man. Don't tap it. Don't tap it. Go for it. Go for the gusto. Finish strong. Come on, Mr. Man.
Yeah, so in the motion,
Hold up. And also, Mr. Man, just give me a thumbs up. No pun intended. But also, Mr. Man, give me a thumbs up if you want to join me live right now. Join me live right now. You could go toe to toe. You could have a conversation with Jay, Mr. Man. But you ain't going to do that because, anyways, rainbow effect. Let's go.
Yeah, so it says the outfits and wardrobes were sometimes used as part of the role play, and one freak off. And if you just listen to this, it kind of sounds like he was just more into the entire setup and theatrics of of these hotel nights and freak offs. The outfits and wardrobes were sometimes used as part of the role play. At one freak off, Combs requested that Philip show up wearing a NYPD uniform. On other occasion, Combs had Jane touch and escort while she was blindfolded. More generally, Jane and Combs would come up with names and scenarios and characters. These there was a lot of cheating role play where they would pretend Sean left town and I'm all alone and I'm sneaking
Okay, just pause real quick. Hey, y'all.
drama.
I ain't gonna lie. Look, I ain't gonna lie. I'll be honest with y'all. I've done role play with my girl before. Okay, I've done it. I'll just be honest with you guys. It happens because I was dating this girl since I was 16 years old. We dated for like 5 years. It happens when you try to spice things up a little bit. It happens when you try to spice things up a little bit. You hear it, somebody else tells you, it happens. I'll be 100% honest with you guys and vulnerable with you guys. It happens. However, they were doing a whole nother level because they had role play with a third person that was, hey, my husband is out of town and I'm lonely. And then she would go with the other guy while he's watching. And then I'm assuming, I'm assuming he busts down the door like, wow, what are you doing with my girl? Because it's what it would have to be, right? Like if you got to catch them, right? Wow, what are you doing with my girl? Get off of her. Or maybe he might say, wait, but hold up. Can't stop, won't stop. Finish strong. This is culturally inappropriate. Shout out to the clips. Continue, please.
Yeah. So I said there was a lot of cheating role play where they would pretend Sean left town and I'm all alone and I'm sneaking in this entertainer and I'm just fantasy talking about how Sean's on a plane and I couldn't wait to get this entertainer all alone to myself. Critically, Combs was not just observing these performers, he and his girlfriends were filming them too. Combs would set up the recording equipment for freak-offs with Miss Ventura. Early on, he would use video cameras, but he eventually switched to phones, iPads, and computers. Philip testifying that Combs would use a cell phone and a camcorder device. Similarly, Combs would film Jane during hotel nights almost every night. Combs would later watch a video together with Ventura and
Almost every time, not almost every night.
oh, every time, yeah.
Yeah.
Combs would later watch a video together with Ventura and Jane. For instance, Jane testified, we would have these things called movie nights where we would not have an entertainer and we would just watch one of our older tapes or newer tapes and we would just role play and fantasize. And that's what we called a movie night.
Okay, stop, please. That's exactly what I'm talking about. This is artistic expression. Now, Ilyas, shout out to Ilyas. Ilyas said, see that um the what's her name? The Gina document was sent to our email. Can you please double check our email?
Yeah,
Because if it was,
I
you
have it.
have it there. Can we put that up? I would love to go through the Gina document. Gina's a real one. Gina's a real one. And if you're a lady on here, if you're a lady on this live, I really, really encourage you to continue to be a real woman. Um, if you want to know what a real woman looks like or sounds like, there's a book. Actually, I'm going to look up the book. There's a book. It's actually based off of a psalm in the Bible, but it has all the characteristics of what a real woman is. Um, I'm gonna put it. I'm gonna tell you guys in a second. But in the meantime, please read Gina's letter. And this is just my own rant and my own tangent before we read Gina's letter. This is my own rant and my own tangent. There are a lack of real men in the world. There's a huge lack of real men, and it's screwing it up for women. So a lot of women are frustrated because there aren't real men in the world. So if you're a man on here, please, please be a real man. Be a
Not,
real man. Step
not
up to
just
the
call
plate
yourself
and be
one.
a man. Not
Not
just
just
call
call
yourself
yourself.
one. You are not a man just because of your genitalia. You're a male because of your genitalia. You're a man because of your works and your actions. And you're ruining it and making real women frustrated out there. And so I just beg you, if you are a man on here, focus on being a real man. Period. And that doesn't even matter whether you're uh into men, women, or something in between. It doesn't negate you from being a real man. It doesn't negate you from being a real man. That's all I want to say. That's a whole nother video. But let's get into this letter. Proverb 31. Yes, that's correct, Tanya. I was about to see, I told you our chat is smart. I was about to read it off, and Tanya V put it in the chat. The book is called Proverbs 31. It's based on Proverbs, the book of Proverbs, chapter 31. The book is based on that. Go ahead, read the letter.
Yes, sir. So this is,
Thank you, Tanya.
yep, and for anybody who's just filing in, this is a Gina's letter that she had sent in. She said, "Dear Your Honor, my name is Virginia Huen, and I'm writing as the person identified as victim 3 in this case. I've
No,
known."
now, just so you guys know, Gina was identified as victim 3 in the case, and she didn't show up. She didn't show up. She said, I ain't doing it. Count me out of it. What you guys are doing is wrong, and I'm going to stand by him. Even though he did things to me that I didn't agree with, what you guys are doing is wrong. Go ahead.
Yep, it says, I have known Sean Combs for many years in both a personal and professional capacity. From that experience, I have seen him primarily as a father, a family man, and a businessman. I've seen him primarily as a father, family man, and a businessman, roles that he has always striven to uphold.
Just
I
1 second before you continue. If I didn't, I don't remember if I did. If I didn't thank Ilias for that, thank you, Ilias, for sending us this letter so we can go through it. Thank you very much.
Yeah. I provide this letter to share my observations about his character and to respectfully request that the court permits his release on bond while this case proceeds. I acknowledge and respect that Mr. Combs stands accused and that the court must weigh public safety and the integrity of the legal process. At the same time, I believe it is important for the court to have a full picture of who he is beyond the allegations. Our relationship, like many, was not always perfect. We experienced ups and downs, and mistakes were made, but he was willing to acknowledge his mistakes and make better decisions in the future. Over the years that followed, he made visible efforts to become a better person and to address the harm he had caused. But by the time our relationship ended, he embodied an energy of love, patience, and gentleness that was markedly different from his past behavior. To my knowledge, he has not been violent for many years and he has been committed to being a father first. I'm writing because I do not view Mr. Combs as a danger to me or to the community. This is his first criminal case. Throughout the investigation and proceedings, he has been cooperative, respectful, and compliant. He has substantial ties to his family and community, including children who depend on him for emotional and financial support. Granting him bond would allow him to continue caring for his family and fulfilling his responsibilities while still subject to the court's supervision. I want to assure the court that if released, I believe Mr. Combs will adhere to all conditions imposed and will not jeopardize his freedom or the well being of his family. Allowing him to be at home will also support the healing process for all involved. I respectfully ask that we consider these factors when deciding his eligibility for release. Thank you for your time and consideration. Respectfully, Virginia Hugh, aka Gina.
Well, Gina, where was this
What a
letter
beautiful
on the
letter.
day of bail? I'm just joking. I'm just joking. Shout out to Gina. Gina's the real one. Gina's a real one. I appreciate Gina um doing that, not for anything, but for showing what a real woman does. Do you see what she put in there? I hadn't even heard the letter or read it. Do you see what she put in there? Although our relationship didn't work out, whatever, whatever, she said, "Oh yeah, if you have one, yeah." Um, she said, although our relationship didn't work out, it was because of me and it was because of him. Naturally, in a relationship, it takes two to tango. It takes two to tango. Now, what Jane and Cassie did is say it was all him and I had absolutely no part in anything. It was all him. Who believes that? What jury would ever believe that any relationship that's just like that is only one? You see this, guys? You see this? If you could just smell it. My cousin's
Lagi sa
barbecuing some
chicken
jerk.
na kagado.
Yeah, I know. You know why? Because it doesn't have any GMO and what do they call it? Steroids and all kind.
Yeah, but that can't fool your belly.
Enough pieces, Cam.
All
Enough
right.
pieces, Cam. All right.
So I just wanted to let you know before we continue, Jay.
And it
Yes,
smoked nice. Smoke nice.
ES did send a letter that Mark Agnifilo sent in. It was an 8-page letter as well. If you wanted to go through that one.
Let's do it. Might as well. We here, right? Might as well. Shout out to Gina. Gina's the real one. Everybody go and find Gina on Instagram. Go and find wherever she's at. YouTube, whatever she does, go support Gina. Please go support Gina. Go get the likes up. Send her messages. Call her a real woman. Whatever it is. Go support Gina.
All right. Can you see the letter, Jay?
I can see it, sir.
Okay. All right. So it says, dear Judge Subaramian, Sean Combs, through his counsel, submits this brief letter in reply to the government's response to his motion for release on conditions pending sentencing. Impervious to the jury's verdict, the government proceeds as though Combs was not acquitted of trafficking and racketeering conspiracy, along with all racketeering acts with which he was charged and found not guilty. Hell-bent on punishing him for being a user of prostitution services in a more draconian manner that anyone in U.S. history, the government continues to target him unfairly, just as it has done from the inception of his probably in placed investigation. Despite the jury's verdict, it continues to make factual statements that are plainly at odds with what 12 New Yorkers found and to try to keep Combs incarcerated, even though the jury rejected the serious charges that led to his pretrial detention in the first place. Specifically, the government argues that Combs has failed Combs, one, has failed to meet the standard for reconsideration, two, does not show exceptional circumstances, and three, cannot reasonably show Combs' appearance in court or the safety of the community. For the reasons stated below, the government's
Argument
argument.
fails. Yeah. Okay. Let's stop it there. I realize that this letter is pretty long, but I want to go through those three. But I saw Mark Jag put in the comments. No wonder why. Let me see the comments. No one. I see why Puff wouldn't let Gina go for Cassie. Yo, do you remember the video? Did you see the video? Gosh. Anyways, y'all remember the video where Puff was assaulting Cassie in the hotel? Everybody's seen it. It's a disgusting, horrible video. Disgusting, horrible video. Let's just start there. Okay. Everybody's seen it. Do you guys know that that video all started because of Gina? Put a one in the chat if you knew that. Put a one in the chat if you knew that that video started because of Gina. Did you guys know that? I know a lot of people didn't know that. Did you guys know that? Let's see in the chat. Did you guys know that? See, did you know that?
No, this is
You didn't
news.
know? This
Yeah.
is news to you. All right. This is news to you. All right.
This
So
this was revealed in court.
this was revealed even before court.
Hmm.
Even before court. Aretha Davidson knew it. So just to give you backstory, Tanya V said I didn't know that. Let's just talk about that video real quick. So what happened with that video? Okay. So what happened originally is that Cassie was out in South Africa. You guys can look it up. You can look up when Honey 3 came out, the recording and all that stuff. Okay. She filmed it in South Africa. And she was knocking boots with Michael B. Jordan before he was Michael B. Jordan. Out in South Africa. Why? Because she went on Instagram and saw Gina post Puff. You can look it up. This is like 10 years ago, but you could still look it up. You could still look it up. She went and saw that Gina and Puff were together. Gina posted Puff. Okay? Gina posted Puff. Remember, Gina has already gone on record saying that Puff did bad things to her as well. So we're not saying that Puff is some, Prince Charming over here or some angel. She blocked Puff. This self-proclaimed S-traffic victim blocked him. Who she said she's so afraid of, and she's so scared of him. And she wrote a letter to the judge saying, lock him up and keep him locked up because I am so scared. Do you block somebody you're scared of? You think so? No. We got a little no over here. Do you guys block somebody you're scared of? That'll make it worse, right? But she didn't just block him. She blocked him and his whole entire team. She blocked the assistants. She blocked everybody, the butler. She blocked the security. She blocked everybody. Nobody's going to get to her while I am here knocking boots with Michael B. Jordan. Before it's Michael B. Jordan. Okay? This all came out in trial because her friend, the gay friend that she had, Deontay Nash, he said he introduced them and he wanted them to hook up. That's what he said in the trial. That's what he said. He said, I introduced them. And he said they're both good looking people and they should knock boots, basically. Okay? That's what happened. So she's out there knocking boots with Michael B. Jordan. And she blocks Puff's whole team. However, she has Mia out there. Mia, the other victim. Mia also works for Puff, but Mia's job at that time is to go and provide assistance to Cassie during this video. So Mia is basically good friends with Cassie, and she was supposed to be Cassie's personal assistant at this time. So Puff calls Mia and says, if you don't put Cassie on the phone, you're fired. Because your job, Cassie, remember, Cassie's still his artist. She's his girl, but she's also his artist. So he says, if you don't put Cassie on the phone, you're fired. This is where they got the forced labor. predicate act from in the RICO, forced labor. So fast forward to the movie premiere when Cassie gets back from filming in South Africa, Honey 3, which sucked, by the way. I'll save you watching it. Don't watch it. It's trash. Jessica Alba's version was much better. And there was no Missy Elliott cameo. Shout out to Missy Elliott. All right. So she gets back and they try to work it out. How do they try to work it out? Through words, through talking, through going back and forth, through meeting up, and of course, through a freak off. So they have the freak off that night in the Intercontinental Hotel, that fateful night, March of 2016. They have this freak off. Okay? This is how they bonded. This is how they bonded through the freak offs. What is a freak off? It's a drug infueled S all day, all night. We're just hanging out. We're sniffing drugs or swallowing drugs or whatever. I don't know if they're doing this thing where you inject drugs, whatever they were doing. Drug infueled or drug fueled, I should say. That's marathon. Now, a lot of people are like, oh, that's crazy. How could you have S for like 24 hours? They didn't have S for 24 hours. It was a suite. What they would do is they would call an escort, they would party together, play music, dance around. Everybody's done that. You dance around, you move the coffee. How many times I've moved the coffee table to dance in my living room? I just did that like a month ago when my friends were over and moved the coffee table, we dancing. It wasn't drug fueled, but there was drinks flowing. We moved the coffee table, we danced around in the living room. They were dancing and drinking and talking and partying and lights and all this stuff. All right. So they do all these things. They call an escort. The escort, and the way Puff would describe it is this is his de-stress time. He would go off grid. He used to say off grid. So this was his de-stress time. If you're a billionaire, you need de-stress time too. Just let you know. You're a billionaire, you're gonna need de-stress. I need de-stress time, and I'm not anywhere close. I don't have enough money to tie Puff's shoes, and I need de-stress time. All right. So he would have this de-stress time, just him and his girl, and sometimes they would call an escort, go off the grid. All right. So they did that back in 2016, March 2016. This was a normal thing in their relationship. However, what happened is she went through his phone. He tried to explain away Gina. You know, ain't nothing with that girl, blah, 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 because he's an old dog. He's an old dog. Shout out to Beanie Man. Old dog like me. So he's an old dog. You know, he's cheating. He has multiple women. He tried to explain away Gina. She went into his phone and said, yeah, you said all the stuff about Gina. What's this? What's this? According to the defense, she hit him in the face with the phone first. According to the defense. According to her, when he was on the phone or in the shower after they had the argument, yelling and screaming at each other, she left. He got out of the shower, and that's when you guys saw what happened with the video. But it was an argument over Gina. Gina, her existence caused that video. Now, obviously, also Puff's crazy behavior and poor judgment caused that video. But Gina was the, pardon me?
And being on drugs.
And being on drugs, yes, because they did talk about, she did mention how many drugs he was on the next day. And she's like, when you get a bad batch of drugs and you act crazy and stuff like that. You know, these are two junkies in a relationship with jealousy and cheating and betrayal and all kinds of stuff. And it got out of hand. But Gina is the reason that everything kicked off in the first place. Now, would he have hit her again after the Gina situation? I believe so, because he had hit her before, anyways. So this is not the only instance of violence between them in their relationship. I'm not out here caping for puff. You guys already know that. I'm just telling you guys the truth. This particular video happened over Gina. That's what happened. All right. Callie Nola, shout out to you, Callie Nola. I think I know the idea that this person using these type of heavy drugs is running some major corporation is not believable to me. He's a figurehead. Well, Callie Nola, he was a figurehead. He wasn't really doing that many things outside of appearances and outside of inspiring and motivating people. And these are his talents to begin with, right? His talent is artistic in music. His talent is inspiring and motivating people. His talent is holding people accountable. His talent is like those are his talents. I don't think that he was day to day doing like real um the day to day work. Well, in our courses we have working on your business versus working in your business. I feel like he was doing more of the big picture stuff working on the business and not the day to day stuff working in the business. It's impossible because he's a drug addict. Tanya V says, I'm not sure Gina was telling the truth about the so-called abuse she suffered. Maybe not. Maybe not. A lot of people weren't telling the truth in this situation. And maybe she knew she wasn't telling the truth. And that's why she said, I don't want to be grilled on the stand. I only made these things up for the interview and because I wanted to sell a book or whatever. She was just recently interviewed at a mall and said he never abused it. Yeah. So maybe because of that Tasha K interview, maybe she was lying just to make salacious things up. And if you watch that interview, that Tasha K interview, she actually had to be asked so many times, like, what exactly did he do to you? What exact abuse was there? But like she was pressed to give that information. Now, some may say, well, that's a common thing for abuse victims. So that could be true. I mean, if you ask that lady they put on the stand, the psychiatrist, she would say, yeah, it's a common thing for abuse victims because they want to put it out their head. And some would say, you straight up lying, girl. All right.
Shout out to Key Hype. Key Hype, thank you so much for the super chat. Key
Thank you,
Hype
Kihat.
says a salute, King.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
Callie
Salute to
Nola,
you as well.
Diddy essentially got the bulk of his money by selling the idea of Black ownership, not necessarily by being a business genius or even sober enough to run a business.
Now, what I was told, Callie Nola, what I was told was that he didn't actually do drugs until Cassie. So I don't know if this is true. I don't know, but I was told this by people who knew him that he he started doing. I was also told from another person that knows him that he started doing drugs at Kim Porter with Kim Porter, and that she got him on drugs. And I was told by another person that was Cassian. Either way, I was told that he didn't even drink in the early days. I'm talking about the Mary J. Blige days. I'm talking about the Biggie days. I was told that he didn't even drink, let alone do drugs, and that he ended up doing that over time. But one thing I do know is if you can somehow manage to put your flag in the sand, somehow manage to just plant that flag in the sand, you're going to be able to have people come through. You're going to be able to draw an audience. You're going to be able to do that. So maybe he did that part. And then as the audience came, he started going on the drugs. Could be. I don't know. I really don't know any of those things, but it's fun to speculate. It's just not fun to say anything is fact. So I can't say anything is fact, but it's fun to speculate. And why is it fun to speculate? Not because it's him. It's fun to speculate because we as people, we are not mysterious. I always tell people this, the ocean is mysterious. Human beings are not mysterious. We all have the same pattern of behavior. It's all the same ish. It's all the same ish. We have the same telltale signs. We have it's amazing, as a matter of fact, how similar we all are. It's actually amazing. Human beings are not mysterious. The ocean is mysterious. All right. Let's get into this. See, because I want to go and have dinner. So let's let's go get into this.
Yeah. Oh, we got Podcast with Soul here. Shout out to you, Podcast with Soul.
Shout out to Sean G. Sean G, I was watching your video earlier today when I was in the gym, bro. Thank you. You know, it's people like Sean G always. He's like David Goggins. They just keep inspiring you to do more and more and more with your day and more with your life. Shout out to Podcast with Soul, sorry, and shout out to the
Queen
original
Amelia.
Queen. Yes, Amadia. Shout out to you. Shout out to you, Queen. 110%. So if you guys are just getting in here, I just want to reiterate before I go eat my food. Um, See this, guys, by the way, put me big on the screen, please. Just want to let you guys know. See this right here? Put me big on the screen. See this right here? This is how you eat chicken. See how this bone is clean and even dropped it. And even has a little bite out of it. That's how you eat chicken. Sometimes I see people eat chicken like they're rich. They just eat the good parts. Gotta clean the bone. All right, let's jump in.
We got Bree Clark in the chat as well. Bree Clark is asking, did the judge deny bail again?
Not that I know of. Somebody said that to me yesterday. They said the judge denied bail. I said, how does the judge deny bail on a Saturday? So I don't know anything about that the judge denied bail. Podcast with Soul is on here. I'm sure that he would do a video if the judge denied bail. I'm sure Queen Amadia would be first and Podcast with Soul will be first before me. I watch their content also to be educated about this stuff. So for now, I can tell you guys, I haven't seen any videos on that. I haven't seen, I Googled it. I tried to find everything I could find because somebody told me that the judge denied bail yesterday. And I was like, the judge denies bail on a Saturday? I don't know anything about that. So, you know, I'm sure they'll make a video before I do because these are the authorities in this space. These are the people who are on it, even more than me.
Yep.
All right.
All right. So it says the court has ample authority to grant bail. The government first argues that Combs' bail application should be considered as a motion for reconsideration by the court. However, as the government acknowledges in a footnote, the Bail Reform Act is silent on when or if a district judge may consider his or her own detention order pending sentence. And they cited a case, United States versus Alouetta. They said the government also concedes, as it must, that the court can reconsider its discussion when its inherent power to reconsider his own ruling. But all the cases cited.
Before you continue, sorry to interrupt you.
Yep.
Before you continue, I really actually just want to get to some of these points. So, one, the court has ample authority to grant bail. Next, so the court is able to do it. We don't have to get into why, but they're able to do it. Let's go to number 2.
Yeah. So number 2 is exceptional reasons exist because of both the facts underlying this conviction and the conditions at the MDC.
They said this in the bail hearing in the first place. Let's go up. And that's not number 2. That's just 2 of the first point. But let's continue. Yeah, let's continue with the main points that they're getting.
Well, it said number 1 here, and then it says number 2 here.
Yeah.
But I see what you're saying. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And they go on about that. I think it was just only 2 for that. Oh no, 3. The defendant will submit to any conditions the court deems appropriate to assure his appearance and ensure the safety of the community.
Yes. So this is the thing for me, right? And if you're just getting in here, I went on a tangent about how he hasn't done anything different than the corn industry. You know what? I'm going to start this whole entire live over in a second. But this right here, all you got to do is tell me, look, check this out. Ankle monitor. You can't leave here. These people can't come through your house. Your plane got to be parked. I need to have your passport. And you can only go from here to here, and you have to get permission for it. And you got security. And I'll do it. And I'll do it. Like, the guys, are we crazy? Are we crazy? We're sitting here and acting as if a domestic assault 10 years ago, a domestic assault 10 years ago makes you a threat to society. Are we crazy? A
Yeah, that was
domestic
wild.
assault 10 years ago makes you a threat to society. That's wild. And it's crazy because that's all the prosecution can hold on to. And if the judge comes through, again, that's all the judge is going to be holding on to. A domestic assault from 10 years ago, a mistake that was made a decade ago. This is crazy. This is absolutely nuts. I've never heard of something like this in my life.
Prophet Elisa, I'm seeing she's asking in chat, why was his bail denied? His bail wasn't denied. Well, the first one was, but the second one wasn't.
Yes. First one, but the second one, no.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I'm going to restart this real quick, but let's just get through the rest of this document. And I want to restart my first original points for those of you guys who weren't on to begin this live. I want to get through that original point that I was making.
Yeah, I'll just read the third one again. It says the defendant will submit to any conditions the court deems appropriate to assure his appearance and ensure the safety of the community. All right. And that was it.
All right. So can we get to the first document for those of you guys who are just coming in? Let's get to that first document real quick, and we're going to run through the rest of this.
You're talking about the one with the green highlights for the
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Give me just a second. Pulling that out now. Okay, we're up and running.
All right, that's the third. Is this the first?
This was
highlight?
just the first time.
Okay, this is the first highlight.
Yeah,
Guys, take this in. All right. For the reason why this is important for all of us to understand is because this could now change the entire world that we live in. And if it doesn't, it should. If it doesn't, it should. Either we keep it the same or we change everything. We don't change the rules for just certain people. We keep it the same or we change everything and we shake it up. We shake it up. So what are we going to do? Let's get into it because this man's First Amendment right may be violated. I don't know. But I want y'all to tell me, do you think his First Amendment right is being violated? I do not know. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not a born American, so I don't know. Y'all tell me. If the statute is interrupted to cover Mr. Combs' conduct, his conviction must be reversed because it violates the First Amendment. The freak-offs and hotel nights were performances that he or his girlfriends typically videotaped, right? Remember, we covered the First Amendment right earlier. Remember that First Amendment right covers expression. It's not just freedom of speech, it's freedom of expression. And the First Amendment right has covered these acts. That's why the corn industry isn't considered prostitution. Remember, prostitution, which means having S in exchange for value. Prostitution is having S in exchange for value, is illegal in every state except for Nevada. Every state except for Nevada. And remember, value could be a flight. It could be a dinner. It could be a bag, a Chanel bag. Oh, sorry. Um, what's the one? Bottega, the one that Jane got. She got Bottega. Okay, it could be anything. It could be anything. Value is value. It's very broad. Doesn't just have to be money. So you're having an exchange for a piece of value. That covers the whole porn industry because it's not just value that they're getting. And it's not just the Mann Act that they're doing because they're flying the person to wherever they're going to record the scene. They're flying the person to wherever they're going to record the scene, right? All right. So you fly them there. You pay for their flight. They do the scene. Actors, as we talked about earlier, even though I don't know how it's considered an actor, I think it's a performer because you're not really acting when you're really actually having S in real life. But okay, we'll call it an actor for y'all. All right. Then they get paid. And then they get flown back home. Is that not the Mann Act? Is that not the Mann Act? Is that not a violation of the Mann Act? But here we have something very important. He's videotaping it for his enjoyment later. What does that mean right there? That right there means that he is expressing himself sexually. This is his sexual expression. This is art. He's recording it. He's directing it. He's saying, you move there, you move there, you move that plant out the way, come to the kitchen table. All right, move to the left, move to the right. He's recording it. He's directing it. That is an expression of art, ladies and gentlemen. That is an expression of art. Can't say it with a straight face. But it is. But it is. But it is. But it is. It's an expression of art. He is a filmmaker. This is a violation, according to the defense. According to the defense, this is a violation of the man's First Amendment right to express himself. All right, let's continue.
Okay, go to the next one, or you want to finish reading that?
No, let's continue. Let's continue with this. The next
Okay.
one. Yeah. The next one. Next one. Yeah.
This part right here.
All right, you go ahead.
Says the evidence showed Mr. Combs experienced these performances as not as a typical John, but rather as a voyeur who filmed the performances. To avoid these
No,
constitutional,
for those of you guys who don't know, a typical John is the one that is actually participating with the woman. He wasn't, or the man. He wasn't participating with anybody. He was in the corner doing his thing while he was watching and filming. A typical John is going to be the person that is participating in the act. He was not participating in the act, at least not from the evidence in the trial. Continue.
yeah, well, the further part of that reading would have explained that, but you just did, so we'll just move on to the next one.
All right,
So
let's go.
it's the next part, it says upholding the convictions would violate the First Amendment. The evidence at trial showed that during the freak-offs and hotel nights, Mr. Combs directed and recorded live S performances that he later watched with his girlfriends. The trial record thus demonstrate that Mr. Combs and his girlfriends arranged these get-togethers not just for the voyeuristic purpose of S arousal and gratification, but also to capture S performances on video in a manner similar to an adult film producer. The Mann Act cannot be enforced in these circumstances without violating Mr. Combs' First Amendment rights. And then it goes on to saying paying people to film them in S performances is protected by the First Amendment right. In the leading decision of People versus Freeman, the defendant was convicted of recurring individuals for prostitution because he paid them to perform acts to be portrayed in an adult film. On appeal, the California Supreme Court reversed the defendant's conviction and held that even assuming his conduct met the state's statutory definition of prostitution, its application would have violated the First Amendment.
There we have it. There we have it, y'all. Y'all be the judge. I don't know. I do not know. I do not know. But what I do know is this is a very good conversation to have. That's what I do know. It's a very good conversation to have. And it's a necessary conversation to have. Is Puff's First Amendment right being violated? Is it being violated? And if it is being violated, why? And if it's not being violated, then why are the other all these industries and the adult film industry, which is a billion-dollar industry, why is that not being looked at? If Puff's stuff is being violated, I don't know. I'm not on the level of legal and law knowledge to know. I'm doing my research, as you guys have seen throughout this live. I've put down my research. I did a lot of research. I haven't spoken to a lawyer yet, but I've done a lot of research, and I'm wondering, is this a violation of the man's First Amendment right, as the defense claims? And notice that in the prosecution's rebuttal for trying to keep him from getting bail, they never, ever addressed any of this. They did not address this. Notice that they did not address this. They didn't. What's going on here? What's going on here? Because it's very important, because if they can do it to him, they can do it to any of us. If they can do it to him, they can do it to any of us. That's why it is important to understand your rights. It's important to understand where they apply, when they apply. And most importantly, it's important to understand that you're coloring within the lines, because you don't want to color outside the lines all of a sudden and realize, what? What are you talking about? How did that happen to me? What are you talking about? How did that happen to me? I didn't do this. And now all of a sudden you're hit sideways because you didn't know. Because you didn't know. Or worse off, you encourage somebody else to do something, and then next thing you know, that person gets in trouble because you recklessly encourage them. We got to know what the right thing is to do. We got to know what the legal thing is to do. Go ahead, C.
Cortez Miller said, don't know if you spoke about this or not, but Diddy's ex wrote the judge for him to be released. Yes, we read that. If you go back maybe about 30.
No, we can read it again.
You want
Let's
to
read it again. Yeah, let's read that again. Yeah.
Right.
It's only 2 pages.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Let's
read that again.
Right now.
This is Gina. For those of you guys who don't know, this is Gina. And we just talked about the fact that Gina was the reason for the whole Cassie video. Gina was the reason for that video of Puff assaulting Cassie and committing a domestic violence assault against Cassie. Gina was the reason for that video, because that's what they were arguing about, that he was seeing Gina.
Exactly. Guys, if you're just filing in, just remember to hit that like button, and if you're not already yet subscribed to the channel, please subscribe as well. All right, let's get into this letter with Gina. Let me pull it up, zooming in so y'all can see it. Okay, so this is a letter from Gina. She said, "Dear Your Honor, my name is Virginia Hewen, and I am writing as a person identified as victim 3 in this case. I have known Sean Combs for many years in both a personal and professional capacity. From that experience, I have seen him primarily as a father, a family man, and a businessman, roles that he has always striven to uphold. I provide this letter to share my observations about his character and to respectfully request that the court permits his release on bond while the case proceeds. I acknowledge and respect that Mr. Combs stands accused and that the court must weigh public safety and the integrity of the legal process. At the same time, I believe it is important for the court to have a full picture of who he is beyond the allegations. Our relationship, like many, was not always perfect. We experienced ups and downs, and mistakes were made, but he was willing to acknowledge his mistakes and make better decisions in the future. Over the years that followed, he made visible effort to become a better person and to address the harm he had caused. By the time our relationship ended, he embodied an energy of love, patience, and gentleness that was markedly different from his past behavior. To my knowledge, he has not been violent for many years, and he has been committed to being a father first. I'm writing because I do not view Mr. Combs as a danger to me or the community. This is his first criminal case. Throughout the investigation and proceeding, he has been cooperative, respectful, and compliant. He has substantial ties to his family and community, including children who depend on him for emotional and financial support. Granting him bond would allow him to continue caring for his family and fulfilling his responsibilities while still subject to the court's supervision. I want to assure the court that if released, I believe Mr. Combs will adhere to all conditions imposed and will not jeopardize his freedom or the well-being of his family. Allowing him to be at home while also support the healing process for all involved, I rex- yeah, for all involved. I respectfully ask that you consider these factors when deciding his eligibility for release. Thank you for your time and consideration. Respectfully, Virginia Huin, aka Gina.
All right. Shout out to Gina. Gina's a real one. Gina, you are a real one. If you're watching this, you're a real one. I don't know exactly all the details about their relationship, but I do know, as I said earlier in this live, I do know that it takes two to tango. Apparently, Jane don't know that. Apparently, Cassie does not know that. You cannot blame every single thing that went wrong in your life on somebody else. You can't do that. And if you're on this chat right now, or if you're listening to this video, or if you're on this live right now, I'm talking to you. And you have a responsibility as well to not let other people off the hook. You know, one of the people we work with had an issue of how I went after Torre. Now, with me and Torre's um, conversation, I asked him straight up. I said, "So is Cassie to be blamed for anything?" And he would not answer. He danced around it. I said 4 or 5 times. You guys can look at it. It's on the channel. The video is on the channel. It's called, I think the title of the video is called The Jury Disagreed with Torre. He would not say Cassie was has this to blame or that blame, or she's guilty of this or that. Nothing. He would not say anything. All he kept doing is making excuses for her. Listen, y'all, do you see at the top left of this screen? You see top left of the screen? You see it? Write in the chat what it says on the top left of the screen. Please, right there. Top left of the screen. What does that say?
That's
Top
it's
left.
your left, but it's all right.
You're right then? Whatever. Right here where my finger is. Please write what that says. Right there. What does that say? Write it in the chat, please. $1 million for the first person that writes it. Monopoly money. What does that say? Elias says Agnifilo cooked the feds by using Bana violence in their letter whenever the judge acknowledged it was lies. Codex, you get $1 million of Monopoly money next time you play me. You play me in Monopoly, I'll front you $1 million. Excuses are for the weak. We do not give excuses. There's no such thing as that. We keep the power for ourselves. So Gina in this letter did not give an excuse. She said, you know what, like any relationship, can you go read that little piece again, please?
Sure. Let me pull it back up.
Cortez says, Cortez Miller said, yeah, excuses for the weak. Correct. Yes, and Torre would never speak on his behavior for the makeup artist. How ironic. Matthew Nixon, excuses are for the weak. Correct.
Yeah. So this is it right
Right
here.
here. Our
Mhm.
relationship, like many, was not always perfect. We experienced ups and downs, and mistakes were made, but he was willing to acknowledge his mistakes and make better decisions in the future. Cassie, are you on here right now, Cass? If I may call you Cass. I don't want to call you Cassandra. It's a little bit too formal. Cassie's what the world knows you as. I feel like I know you a little bit better. Oh, Cass, have you considered that? Did you say that? Ups and downs, like any other relationship, mistakes were made, but was willing to acknowledge his mistakes, make better decisions in the future. I'm not capable of puff. Do you know how I know this is true? Because it came out in the text messages. It came out in the text messages in which people were able to read on the screen and hear the text messages read, and they posted them on the screen. And the text messages from Puff said, I'm sorry. I'm trying to be better. I went to spiritual coaching. I'm went to therapy. Did you know Puff went to rehab? I didn't realize until after he had already gone to rehab. Did you know that he had overdosed? I didn't realize until after he overdosed, but he did overdose. Like, this is a drug addict that is figuring his stuff out in life. Come on, Cass. Why can't you say the truth? You did some stuff. He did some stuff. Maybe he did more than you did. But regardless, he was always trying to be better. He was always trying to be better. He actually texted Cassie saying, do you want me to feel worse than I already feel? What do you want from me? I've apologized. I'm trying to be better. What do you want? For me to feel worse than I already feel? I feel like crap for what I did. I've tried to do many things to correct my behavior, and I'm not caping for pup. I'm not. Please do not get me wrong. I'm saying, can we have a little bit of grace, please, as human beings? Can we be allowed to make mistakes and then apologize and change our behavior? Can we be allowed? Please, please, please. Yesterday, I walked by this place. Tell you what this place is called right now. Walk by this place. This place is called Two Esras. So this is the place, guys. This is the place. There were street preachers. There was street preachers. This is the place right here. Took a photo of them. They're preachers. I stood up there and spoke to them for like an hour. Okay, I stood up and spoke for like an hour, just understanding what they do, where they're coming from, stuff like that. And the same thing I said to them is the same thing I'm saying right now. Are people allowed to make mistakes? Because the guy was telling me that we have the ability to be perfect. So I said to him, are people allowed to make mistakes? He said, but you have to repent. And I said, of course you have to repent. He goes, do you know what repentance is? And I said, repentance is a 3-step process. Number 1, you recognize your mistake. Number 2, you ask for forgiveness. And number 3, you change your behavior. And he goes, okay, yes, you're right. My point is, If somebody does those 3 steps, how are you still putting them in the doghouse? How? They've, number one, recognized they did something wrong. Number two, they've asked you for forgiveness of doing the thing that they did wrong. Number three, they've demonstrated that they've changed their behavior. How are they still in a doghouse? How are you putting them under the jail? It doesn't make any sense to me. People say Puff needs to be under the jail, not in jail, under the jail. Why? And us as leaders, again, I always go back to the fact that this is a leadership channel. Us as leaders, don't we have the responsibility to give people grace, to allow people to grow, to allow people to make mistakes, to allow people to become better? Or are we just going to get off on putting people under the bus so we could feel better about ourselves? Because let's be real, y'all. Let's be real. The only reason why is so we could feel better about ourselves. That's the only reason why you don't give somebody grace. That's the only reason why you don't give somebody the benefit of the doubt. That's the only reason why you try to keep somebody in the doghouse. It's because you want to feel better about the BS that you do. Let's be real. You want to feel better about the BS that you do. That's all life is. Status. It's the beginning of time. If you guys had joined, would join, and I hope you guys do, join our morning lives. I know we don't keep them up for the entire day. We take them down, but join our morning lives. We keep them up for at least like 10, 12 hours. And we just talked about that. We just talked about it. If you want to hold something against somebody else, really, it means you have something within your heart. You know why? You're your own worst critic, because you know all the sneaky, slimy, crazy, weird, disgusting things that you do. The only person that knows all the stuff that you do is you. So we do it in 2 ways. We put ourselves down. We don't actually advocate for ourselves being number one in our lives. And we talked about that last week. Last week, we said we're not kind to ourselves because we don't think we deserve it. For some reason, we don't think we deserve it. And that reason is because we know everything that we do. So we're not kind to ourselves. We're not empathetic to our future selves. And we don't feel like we deserve the greatest. You deserve everything. God put you on the world, on the planet, in this world to go and get it. You deserve everything. But in our minds, in our subconscious minds, we feel like we don't deserve it. So that's one way, is we start putting ourselves down. Another way is that we put other people down and don't give them grace because we want to feel up. That's the other way. Both are bad. Give the person grace, and that person should first be yourself, and then your brother, your neighbor, your sister, your mother, your cousin, your son, your daughter, your friend. Give people grace. Let the man live. I'm not going to judge Puff for his weird, freaky, deaky things. It's not my style. It's not what I do. That's not how I get down. But that has nothing to do with me. The last thing I should be doing is think about what another person is doing in their bedroom. We ignore, as Sean G put up today, Podcast with Soul put up today, how I think the name of the video was Puff has donated millions to schools and colleges and stuff like that, Boys and Girls Club and stuff like that. No, that means nothing. All that matters is the tape. All that matters is the tape. The kid that got his scholarship and went to university on Puff's dime to get out of the hood and make a better life for himself, for his family, and have a chance at generational wealth and generational smarts, and be able to show people that it's possible. No, F that. That don't mean nothing. All that matters is the Cassie video. That doesn't mean a damn thing. That person, him or hers child, son or daughter, is going to be able to live a better life and break a generational curse. No, we don't care about that. We just care about the video from 10 years ago. That's all we care about. No, but he beat Cassie. Get him under the jail. Do you see how twisted and demented people's minds are? This is crazy. This is nuts. If you think like that, you are the problem. You are the problem. Because let me tell you something. He has done more for the community than you have. The person that thinks like that, the person that thinks like that, he has done more for people than you have. He's done more for the community than you have. You're not inspiring. You're boring. Ain't nobody looking at you to say, I want to be like you. The person that knows what inspiration looks like and embodies it, that's the person that will understand this man and what he's done and what we should all be doing. What we should all be doing. You only hate on somebody that's doing more than you. You don't hate on somebody that's beneath you. Hate comes towards the person that's above you, that's doing more than you, not that's beneath you. You got a problem with the Cassie video? What did you do for domestic violence? What did you do? What did you do? You got a problem with Puff? What have you done for the community? What have you done? These people never have any answers. The first thing they want to do is bury somebody. That's a sickness. That's a sickness. Their first thing is throw grace out the window and bury them. And when you need grace, or when your loved one needs grace, you are nowhere to be. You are nowhere near burying. You're nowhere near a grave site. Where are you? You're right there trying to protect. Oh, but everybody makes mistakes. Now all of a sudden your tune change. When it's you or somebody else, let him without sin cast the first stone. It's written on my arm right here. Let him without sin cast the first stone. It's written on my arm right here. God bless everybody. And I pray there aren't these victims. I pray there aren't all these things. I hope that this stuff that he was accused of originally never happened. But one thing I can tell you is in the court, it never came out. In the court, none of this stuff happened. In the court, we heard people talk, and none of this stuff happened. We heard evidence. We saw evidence. And there was no evidence of minors. There is no evidence of homosexuality. There was no evidence of celebrities. There was no evidence. All these things that they said, there was no evidence of any of this stuff. It was the man, one of his girlfriends, and an escort, all three willing participants and consensually having S. But yet people come to me and say, well, there are true victims. We just don't know about them. Are you so twisted that you want there to be kids? Is that gonna make you happy? Knowing a child was great. Will that make you happy? You sound crazy. That's all I got to say about that. All right, see, let's get to this last one. God bless you, Queen Amadea. God bless you. I appreciate it. All right. So let's jump into that last one. I'm done, as the kids say, crashing out. But I'm passionate about this stuff. I'm passionate about this stuff. See, you still there?
Yeah, I'm here. What are you talking about when you're saying last one?
That last document.
You mean the one that talks about the history of
Correct. The First Amendment right.
Aren't we a little bit past that point now?
No, well, there's people who had filed in a little bit late, you know. Gotta And some people have been on here for a while. Maybe they want to hear it again.
All right, let's see. Let's pull it up.
Shout out Queen. Shout out Matthew. Shout out Ray. Shout out Andre. Shout out Mark Jag. Shout out Mookie B. Mookie B. Shout out to the Bronx. I'm pretty sure Mookie B is from the Bronx. Shout out Mookie B. Special K. What up? Ray J. What up? Maria. What up? Hey, Maria. I went to Carabana yesterday. I know, Maria, you said you were in Canada. Carabana is in Canada.
Jay, did you want me to read the history about the First Amendment or the one that talks about why it's like
Exactly what's on the screen right now, sir.
okay.
Mookie B, Trini, hey, ah, my people. Shout out to you, Mookie B. All right, go on.
All right, so the First Amendment oh
And
hold on.
and and this is like a Jamaican reading the First Amendment right for America.
Oh
Oh,
yeah.
and Mookie B, happy Emancipation Day. I know it's Friday, but happy Emancipation. And to anybody here from the Caribbean, happy Emancipation.
All right, so the First Amendment, ratified in 1791 as a part of the Bill of Rights, protects fundamental freedoms like religion, speech, press, assembly, and petition. It prevents the government from infringing upon these rights, ensuring a space for diverse belief and public discourse. Its history is rooted in the colonists' experience with religious persecution and restrictions on speech, and its development involved key figures like James Madison and Thomas Jefferson. Key aspects of the First Amendment's history. Origins in colonial experience. Many colonists came to America seeking religious freedom after experiencing persecution in Europe. This experience fueled the
That
desire
I don't know if that's true, but continue.
for constitutional protection of religious liberty. Madison's rule. James Madison, often called the father of the Constitution, played a crucial role in drafting and advocating the Bill of Rights, including the First Amendment. He believed that these amendments were essential to address federalist concerns about the new government's power. Free
Greetings, give me one second. Greetings, Easy Q Universe, and Cortez Miller C is from Jamaica. Continue.
Free speech and the press. The First Amendment protects both freedom of speech and the press, ensuring the public can express themselves and access information without government censorship. Freedom of assembly and petition. The right to assemble peacefully and to petition the government for redress of grievances is also guaranteed. This
We don't need the rest of this. We can go to incorporation. Yes. What up?
incorporation.
Yeah. Yes.
Initially, the First Amendment applied only to the federal government. However, through a process called incorporation, primarily used in the 14th Amendment, its protection have been extended to state and local governments. And then they have landmark cases. Numerous Supreme Court cases have shaped the interpretation and application of the First Amendment, including cases like New York Times Co. versus Sullivan, which strengthened protections for the press, and Tinker v. Des Moines, which addressed student free speech rights.
Perfect. Thank you. Just shout out to Mookie B. A lot of people won't know what I'm about to say, but big up Sando. We hail from Cuba, family in La Romaine, in South, and family in Princesstown. That was like another language. But Mookie B's from Trinidad, so Mookie B knows what I'm talking about. All right. Listen, y'all. This is amazing. This is amazing. What's amazing is that this defense team has somehow managed to pull another rabbit out the hat to compare Puff's Mann Act charges and his hotel nights slash freak offs to the porn industry, align it with that, and attach it to being protected by the First Amendment right. My goodness. Shout out Mark Agnifilo and the incredible job he's done and all of those incredible lawyers that he's assembled here. This is incredible lawyering. And I'm not a lawyer, but if I was, I don't know. I would probably look at Mark Agnifilo as like the Kobe Bryant of lawyering. Like, I'd be like, what? This is amazing. Think about how genius this is. And I know it's not just him, it's the entire team that he hired to work with him. You know, with Tenny Garagos, Nicole Westmoreland, Brian Steele, you know, all of them, right? But he literally, what I was thinking was, well, when people fly a girl out, or a guy could be, when somebody flies somebody out, then, oh, okay, that is transporting because you wanted to have S, so your intention was S, and the value was given because you transported them. Maybe you sent them with a little money to go back home. Maybe you took them shopping. Maybe you gave them money when they got there. Maybe you pay for the hotel. Whatever. It's exchange of value, and your original intention was that you wanted to get some S. They took it to a whole nother level. That my little small mind was thinking. My little small mind was like, that's crazy. That doesn't make any sense. They took it to a whole nother level, which the porn industry, the adult film industry, is protected by the First Amendment right, which is why that is not prostitution. And you can also fly people out to do scenes in OnlyFans and beyond, because what are you doing? You are expressing yourself. You're videotaping it. You're creating a movie. And they took the whole creating a film and attached it to that to say that his First Amendment right allows him to do this. Oh my goodness. This is genius.
Yeah, Jay,
This
before you
is
go, before
genius.
you
Go ahead.
proceed on, yeah, shout out to Brandon Burks. Brandon Burks said the people he's asking, the people in the Caribbean were once enslaved. Actually, Brandon, the people in the Caribbean were among the first to be enslaved in the Western region. They
That's
were
correct.
the Caribbean experienced enslavement from the transatlantic slave trade before America.
Yes, that's correct. And the reason why is because that land was the land that was not developed at all. So they needed people to start developing those little small islands. The Brits I'm talking about. So yeah. And also they had the least amount of resistance because they had the least amount of indigenous people there in the first place because they were just small islands. Yeah. Um,
ES did say he sent the Agnifilo podcast on email. That podcast deserves a show on its own. So we will look into that podcast and we'll decide if we're gonna do a video on it.
100%. I met Mark Agnifilo. The things that he told me when I first met him was basically he just made fun of me and he just made a joke on me. So I respect him very, very much. For when I basically made a joke to him. I said, "You guys are doing a great job. The only thing you guys are missing is me. If you guys go on our channel on our shorts, I think maybe our first short one of our first shorts is me and Diddy's legal team. And I said, you guys are doing a great job. The only thing you're missing is me on your legal team. And he said, you know what? It's funny that you mentioned that. We were just talking about how we were missing you and we needed you, which was obviously sarcastic. Shout out to Mark Agnifilo. I like somebody who can make fun of me, rip on me. If you're crazy enough to rip on me, then you're crazy enough to F with me. Perfect. All right, y'all. Listen, Sunday evening, all you guys, I know it's 6:30 some places. I know it might be even 4:30 some places. It might be 6 hours behind if you're in Europe or something like that. And it might be, sorry, 6 hours ahead if you're in Europe or something like that. And it might be like in the morning in some places. I am going to jump off, but see, do you have anything to say before I jump off and go and have my dinner with my family?
Just want to say I really appreciate this chat. I love everybody, and let's just go and spread love in this world and fight for justice, guys.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Hey, look, it takes a village, y'all. It takes a village. We can't do it on our own. Let one person take another person up. So if there's what 100, 1,000, or whatever people will watch this video, send it to one other person, and let's all do it together. I will be on tomorrow morning, 7:30 a.m. You guys know I couldn't go jump on Friday, but I was on 7:30 a.m. Monday to Thursday. We usually leave it up for most of the day, and then we take it down and then we'll jump on the next morning at 7:30 a.m. So I'll be on 7:30 a.m. I know it's a holiday for some of you guys, but for the masses, especially in the United States, it's not a holiday tomorrow. So 7:30 a.m. I will be on as per usual. I appreciate everybody being here, and we'll leave this up for a little bit. We'll leave this up for a little bit so you guys can have a little bit more conversation. But good night, everybody. Have a good evening. Go and eat some good food. Go and get some good rest because the morning belongs to the night before. All right, y'all. Peace.